Welcome to the Beefy Boys Breakdown. We're going to be recapping everything that took place at Sphere on Saturday night. UFC 306, headlined by O'Malley and Dvalishvili, episode 129 of the pod. Man, I enjoyed it, man. I really did. I appreciated just the extra, I don't know if you want to call it antics or production or whatever you want to call it. I was here for it. I saw a few people complaining, and I was just like, you guys really must be miserable cunts. Like, if you're like,
Dude, anyone that was complaining, first of all, go fuck yourself. You're just a miserable
yeah,
human. That shit
yeah.
was astounding. It changed my perspective on how I view the UFC and the fact they're not going to do it again, so they say. I mean, by the way, we should just talk about the numbers real quick. They spent 20 million to do this. They got 22 million in gate. I guarantee this might be the pay-per-view record. Because I had friends that were buying it, didn't even know who was fighting. They just wanted to see the Sphere.
When anecdotally, just to like kind of gauge public interest in it, there's like a sports bar next door to my work in downtown Reno, and I was off obviously because I was watching it. But my manager today, she was telling me that like there was people like the streets like the fucking old Willy Wonka movie, like how they like gathered around to like see the TV screen from like through the window,
Bro,
like
literally.
some old school shit that like used to happen in like the 40s when everybody didn't have TVs. Like there was like the inside was so full. There was people just like outside, like huddled around, like trying to just like get a glimpse. So
Bro,
like just like I think it's a pretty good indicator of just like public interest.
yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. And the screen when it's like all broken down, I saw it's something like 19,000 resolution by like 16,000, so it's literally 10 times more resolution than most computer monitors for comparison, right there. Um,
Wow.
so yeah, it actually has more pixels in its screen than any screen on the planet Earth. So it has the highest resolution and depth of imagery that has ever been produced. So what we
What
were
it
seeing
looked
was
like.
quite literally the best. Yeah, it's the best the world has to offer at this point.
When like I was wondering, like, because we were getting like a picture of a picture. It's like whenever you take a picture of your computer screen, it looks like shit. I was like, is this
Yes.
gonna look? Is this gonna translate to the TV? I'm sure it was even better in person, obviously, but it did translate to the TV. Because that was my biggest question. I was like, I mean, how cool? I was like, I knew it was gonna be cool for the people there. I had that much confidence.
Oh
But I was like, how
yeah.
cool is this? I was like, how cool is this even gonna be for me at home? And like, no, it
The
was so cool.
the fact
And
they
it
did
was
the drones that were shooting in live, like it looked and felt like a video game, man. Like it felt like a produced movie. It didn't feel like it was a live event. It was unbelievable. I was blown. There were times where like I was watching it with Nick Gaines, shout out Nick, and OBU boys. But damn, you're in your red, green, and black too. Shout out.
uh,
But yeah, I'm watching it with them, and there were points where I would just be like, neither of us are talking because we're just watching the screen. It was so mesmerizing.
Yeah, yeah, no, I know. Like, it was almost hard to find a place to grab a beer and get pissed because, like, in between the fights was when all the cool shit was happening.
I know,
Like,
dude.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, it was amazing. I think definitely lived up to the hype, which is hard to do when something's that hyped and then for it to
Yes.
deliver. I mean, I'm just almost like call me a pessimist. I'm just like in my life, I'm just like, oh, there's no way it'll be that cool. But like, no, I loved it. And like I said, for the miserable cunts that were complaining, I swear to God, too, I swear it was the same people that bitch about the Apex. Like, how can those two like thoughts exist simultaneously? Like, you hate the Apex, but you're gonna hate on the Sphere too? Like, what the fuck? There's no pleasing you people. Like,
And the sphere hate was wild too. Like the takes I was seeing were just bad takes. Like gonna age so cold. The fact that I just brought to life that that is the greatest screen the planet Earth has ever produced should already tell you that you're in for a show.
and it was there was times, like I said, through my TV, which is a camera pointed at that TV, it still felt 3D.
Right.
I
That was the
didn't
thing is the immersion.
yeah,
Like they captured the immersion so well from their multiple camera angles. Like, dude, they did a great job. Like, shout out to the UFC. They actually crushed it. I know we probably I want to give the Sphere its time. Like I honestly do. I wanted to ask
we're
a couple
good.
questions about the movies before we get into the breakdowns of the fights.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, far away.
So as far as like Easter eggs, I didn't even know what to be looking for. I didn't know if I was
Yeah,
supposed to identify like the Aztec temple, Chichen Itza, and the other temple that is like the Toltec temple. I didn't know if that was like one of the things they're asking you to do, like because they're when they're the three temples, they are each significantly a different temple. Um,
yeah, and like I hate that they even use the word Easter egg. Like that's not part of my vernacular. Okay? When I say Easter egg, I mean Easter egg, like for Easter, like with the candy in it. Like I don't.
Dude, you know whose vernacular that is? Video game players. It was the weirdest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
Okay.
in video games, they'll put Easter eggs, which are like in the Halo games, you can find like skulls of like Marines that were on board the ship with you and later through the game and shit, right? And those are like hidden and you can just stumble on them and figure it out. Easter eggs. So that's always been a video game term. I was very like, when Dana said that, I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, what am I supposed to be looking for? Like, am I supposed to find you in these videos? Like, are you hiding in there somewhere? Like, what's going on?
This fucking where's Waldo?
Yeah,
Where's
right. Like,
Dana?
what? Yeah, like, how are you
yeah.
defining Easter egg, Dana? You're a 50-year-old
Yeah,
man.
very true. Yeah, I did. So yeah, you're right. I gave up on that pretty quick. And I
Me
was like,
too.
well, I'm
Me
just gonna
too.
enjoy it. Like
Literally after the
honestly.
first one, I was like, I don't know what I'm looking for, so fuck it, I'll ride the wave.
And I think that was the general sentiment. I didn't see anybody tweeting about Easter eggs or like at all. Like I didn't see it. Kind of just wasn't even part of the discourse. So yeah, Easter eggs. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I kind of just it went out the window very quick because like I didn't fully even know what to look for.
As
So I was
far
like,
as
I'm
the,
just gonna enjoy this
as
shit.
far as the videos go, very cool how they started with like the Mayan people and the guy in the eagle's helmet is a Toltec Aztec,
Yes.
right? So there is like the story of the lowland and highland people and the meeting and merging and making the Aztec Empire. That's the Toltecs and the Olmecs. Yes, got it.
Okay.
Nice. Um, so those two tribes merge and become the Aztecs, right? And then the Mayans are actually down a little further south, which is like Chichen Itza and like the Yucatan Curve, right?
Yep.
So I liked how they kind of introduced the original stories of how like they show the people around the fire, the guy with the eagle's helm comes down, they kind of are showing you that story, right? Just very quickly, very
Yeah.
visually. And then they progress it to the conquistadors when they
Yeah.
arrive and the temple goes on fire and there's arrows being shot. So sick. So
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
And then I believe the next transition was Spanish Revolution, where they have Hidalgo, the priest that leads the revolution of Mexico. Mexican Revolution, not Spanish Revolution. And then from there, they transitioned to early Mexico, like 1900s, which was when Ortega and Lopez are coming out. And then I didn't really know what the transition or the background was. It was just like Day of the Dead, essentially, for Valentina
Yeah.
and Grasso,
I-
right?
I'll I'll let the cat in the bag. That was my favorite one. Like
That one
the
was
Day of the
so
Dead
sick.
that was like my favorite one. Me and my wife actually do like an ofrenda and like
Oh,
we
shit, okay.
actually and I have a sugar skull fucking tattooed on my arm. Like I've always been a big fan of that like imagery and tradition and everything about it. That
The
was by
philosophy.
far my favorite one. It had like the ring girls in the Dia de los Muertos
Yes, that was
mask, and,
so
like,
sick.
so I'll let the cat out of the bag. That was my favorite like segment, or if you will, like theme.
And then the new age, the future, that's always hard to do. I thought the Mexican city they presented was sick, but then when they kind of blasted off into space, I was like, it's sick because of the imagery. But really, Marab and Sean have nothing to do with Mexico anyway, so you might as well put them in space.
Yeah, true. And that was always like the awkward thing
I
about this
know.
card. It was the whole Riyadh season, and then it was headlined by two not only non-Mexican but non-Latin
Non-Latin, yeah,
anything.
nothing,
Yeah.
nothing.
So that was always weird. Like kind of that just kind of seemed to not match. So you're right. I guess it made sense that they kind of put the randomest one with them. Yeah. Also, just the future one in general was probably like my least favorite. How the guy
Me
was just
too.
kind of floating through the air.
Me
Like, that was
too.
that one, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
The guy was just
yeah.
kind
You're
of,
just
like,
kind of
but
in
there
the
was no really
cosmos.
explanation. Like he
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a jetpack, or like, he was just like kind of floating. Like it was weird. It was like gave me like screensaver vibes, or like Temple
Yes.
Run, or like some weird
Yes, just kind of
yeah,
floating in
yeah.
the distance. Like, wasn't really what I thought of when because like, man, I don't know. The opening fight, we'll probably jump to breaking down fights, but the opening fight I thought was sick because they're fighting in front of the Aztec temples for Ronaldo Rodriguez. That was
Yeah,
fucking
that was
sweet.
probably my second favorite behind the Day of the Dead. And then you said your favorite was like, what did they call it? Like the
The
colonial kind of town square?
Yes,
Oh no,
yes, the
yeah,
town
that was
square fight. That shit was fire. Because I just figured like when I was watching it, and I was like, oh, these are two guys that would meet in the middle of a town square and throw down.
I could be wrong. I want to say that's like Guadalajara. I mean
Probably
maybe
right.
I'm, but I've seen some pictures of Guadalajara that kind of resembled that. Yeah, no, that it was all sick though. I'm here for it. I honestly hope it's not the last one. Like
Dude, me
Cormier and Rogan
too.
were saying, like this can't be the last one.
It can't be, and you could do such cool cards. Like if you want to keep theming them, like it doesn't have to be Mexican Independence Day. It could be
no,
International Fight Week. And how sick would that be to just go international scope of you can do anything you want?
I saw a lot of people. I think Dana even talked about it too. Like, which kind of leads me to think that he's thinking about it or considering it. He's saying like if they did Mexican Independence Day, like American Independence Day, like Fourth of July, which is usually typically pretty close to International Fight
International
Week.
Fight
So
Week
that
is the
makes
last week of June, so
yeah. So that'd be like a Fourth of July one. That'd be kind of sick.
that would be very
But
sick.
yeah. Oh, and like I said, I don't know. Maybe I've been hanging out with my wife and her friends too much. The fucking ring girls, like in their wardrobe
Yeah,
changes and shit.
unbelievable.
Like one of my favorite parts of it. Like almost as impressive, if not more impressive, than like the actual like screens. Because like,
I almost would rather have the ring girls in crazy costumes rather than their typical bullshit like bra and panties.
well, that's how I felt. Like how Cormier felt about like we can't go back to regular arenas. Like I don't want to go back to
Yeah.
regular ring girls. Like I say when we're in France, fucking do something like with them there too, or just wherever you have, or like even like if they're in Vegas, like say they're even at T-Mobile, like the Las Vegas like showgirl type of outfits. Like you
That's
know
what
what
I'm
I'm talking about?
saying,
Or
right? Like dress them up in like sparkles and like headdresses.
Brazil, there's like Carnival. Like everywhere
Boom.
you go, like they have something like that. Like I don't know, yeah. So I don't know. I'm here for it.
In
Like,
Italy, they
I
could
think
put
they're
them all in
going.
like fashion house clothing.
Yeah, they go to
I don't think I've ever
China, I
been to
think
Italy, but
upcoming soon. But no, each country has like something. Or could you imagine if they do like a Japan card and they're like in like
oh
kimonos or
my
like geisha
god, it'd
type
be
shit?
sick.
That'd be so sick. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if that makes me soft or not. But I was a big fan of like the wardrobe changes of the ring girls, man. But without further ado, we'll dive in. We did actually have championship fights mixed in between the videos and the ring girls.
One we
But
were
yeah,
very
O'Malley.
right on, and one we were very wrong on. Just to go ahead and get that out of the bag too.
Sure, man. And like, it's crazy because I talked about on our betting episode how I went full circle. How like 6 months ago, I thought Marab had the perfect style to beat Sugar Sean. And I basically like talked myself out of it. It's almost like when they say,
I
like when
know.
you're taking a multiple choice test and you're debating between two answers, like this test taking strategy is just to go with your initial gut instinct. Like that was like me with Marab and O'Malley. Like my initial gut instinct was Marab, and I kind of like overanalyzed it. I think it's
Me
probably fair
too.
to say paralysis by analysis. And because like as it was happening, I was like, yeah, this is like how it was gonna look if this was gonna happen. Like you know
Right.
what I mean? I can't say I was shocked. I was like, yeah, this is kind of like par for the course if like Marab's having success. Go
We,
round by round if you want, because I feel like we kind of have to.
we definitely have to. I'm not saying there's a way that Sean wins this fight, in any sense, but I do think there's a way he could win 2 rounds. I'll say that.
Agreed. Yeah, I didn't like 49-46, but I'm not mad at 48-47. Given O'Malley 3 rounds, like I saw a few people online
Oh no
that
way.
tried to make that argument,
No,
and like
there's no
there's just
shot.
yeah,
There's no
yeah,
shot. There's
that
only 2 rounds you can give him, in my opinion, and it's not even like
3 and 5, right?
yeah, yes, yeah. So we don't necessarily have to go round by round because I have 1, 2, 4 Marab, 3, 5 O'Malley. I think 3 is debatable. Well, I guess 5 and 3, or I think 5 is for sure Sean's round. 3, you could argue, is kind of a closer round.
That's my scorecard verbatim. I only gave Sean 5, but I have 3 as like close and like because Sean round 3 was the one where he kind of ended the round landing some shots, and
Yeah,
Marab didn't get a lot of damage off.
yeah.
So
And the body
and
kicks
Sean
1-5.
kicks were
Should have done
the
those
most
earlier.
impactful strike of yes. But I mean the rest of the rounds. I mean, what in round 1, Marab got I think 3 takedowns. 2, he got 2. I'll
Man,
say though, like
Marab does not keep guys down well, does he? Because Sean was getting up pretty easily, in my opinion. Like he wasn't eating big damage.
I'm gonna meet you halfway there because you're right. He doesn't hold people down great, but I think he is like
He's active.
pretty active with the
Super
ground and
active.
pound.
Maybe too
And so
active because they're kind of sloppy, in my opinion. Like I didn't think they were necessarily effective. They just felt like they were pace, which is who he is.
like I was kind of torn because hey, after watching that Shevchenko fight, which we'll get to, I was
Oh
like, all right,
my god.
he's going for it. He's doing something. But you're right. Like if I'm his coach, like maybe less is more. You know what I mean?
I
Because you could
agree. Like maybe just hold these
maintain.
positions and maintain positions and set up your strikes on the ground and don't let him get back up. Because every time he was back up was any time me and you as an O'Malley better thought we had a chance.
1,000% agree. 1,000% agree. Yeah, yeah. And what kind of pissed me off about O'Malley last night, it's the classic cliche that said in fighting, like if you're looking for a finish, you're going to lose a decision. Like that classic old school saying. It was Sean O'Malley was that embodied. Like he kept wanting to snipe.
Yep.
And to be honest, if O'Malley went like full Sean Strickland and just threw like straight punches and like moved for some of those front kicks that he was landing in round 5, like literally basically the Sean Strickland approach.
I couldn't agree more.
I mean, I think there was a path to victory. Like the volume was not there to where it was like he had no shot to win the round unless he got the knockout. So like it just was too much, like too patient, too much of a sniper. Like I think he needed to be a little bit more of a machine gunner than a sniper.
Especially against a guy who clearly is not a great striker and is a little chinny. Like you need to put the volume on him. You need to put the heat on him. You need to put him in dangerous situations. Sean was just trying to kind of wait him out. And dude, Merab was doing a good job of staying very far out or getting very close in and not being in the intermediate range.
Well, and then when Sean would go to do the proverbial snipe, he would like kind of load up and whip, and Merab would duck under and get the takedown.
Right.
Where if those are Sean Strickland 1-2s, you're not off balance. You can get your hands down faster.
You can slide back and 1-2 again. Because Sean has really good footwork. He just really did not use his feet. He really tried to set up like a framed sniping shot like you're talking about with a lot of feints. And Merab wasn't really biting feints because Merab knows it doesn't matter if I bite your feints or not. I just got to go when I go. And when you go, I go.
Merab did a great job of not doing an Aljamain Sterling. Like he didn't sprint into shit. It was side to side.
I know. And it was when Sean goes, he goes, right? Like he would always let Sean go and then he'd come back into him when Sean's motion was already going forward. But Sean wasn't throwing like you're talking about 6-punch combos. He's throwing these like jab, jab, big cross, and he's stepping over, right? Leading that lead leg in. Well, that's exactly what Merab wanted.
Like you got to think, Merab was moving side to side the whole time and like striking 1-on-1. You're supposed to kind of corral him in with body kicks, leg kicks. Like that's how you kind of like when somebody. That's how you like counter the horizontal movement, right? Like
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt of this that through in round 1, you're scared to kick because if he grabs your leg, you know you're getting taken down. That being said, after round 1, when you get taken down 3 times and you haven't thrown a kick, maybe start throwing kicks.
Yes. Also, I was expecting more knees up the middle. That was a big letdown. He really didn't do that at all. I think he tried.
He tried twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one partially landed.
I was expecting that to be like a full on like part of the game.
Theme
for, like,
of the night.
Yeah. And so because even whenever we looked like whenever we're breaking this down, we kept bringing up the Marlon Moraes fight and the Henry Cejudo fight, but they caught him in like wild exchanges. They didn't snipe him. Like whenever they wobbled Merab, they were both throwing and they just got there first. So like Sean didn't even like give himself the opportunity for that. You know what I mean? Because like
also I'll say this. If the moment was too big for anyone, it was actually Merab, man. The way he started the fight was like wild. Him trying to talk to Tim Welch and shit, and Herb Dean just like immediately stopping the fight and being like, "Are you gonna fight him?" or like, and then doing the kisses thing and walking away and getting hit in the side of his. I mean, that was a legal shot Sean threw, but it's like Merab was just doing dumb shit trying to showboat. I didn't love that. That's not normally him.
See, I have to separate those two things because there was like kind of a conspiracy floating around that like when Sterling like sprinted into that punch, it was because Tim Welch was saying,
"Yes, I
go
agree.
for it, Aljo," and like football as a linebacker, I can't like fake a snap count. That's a flag.
I agree.
So I view that first scenario slightly different. The kissing on the back and then getting pieced to the side of the head as you're walking away with time left on the clock. You're right. That was never go full Merab, as they say.
He was too much in his. Because dude, imagine if that shot knocked him out. That's a legal shot. He would have lost the fight. It would have been the craziest sequence. Like, why even risk it?
It reminded me of Merab diving into the ice. And like Sean was just saying, like he's just not a smart guy. So I separate those two things. I think the first one was like kind of valid. I don't think like. Remember what we just broke down the girl fight Demopoulos like 2 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and she was talking about the glove and
Grabbing
then
my
got
glove.
submitted.
Yeah.
Like so that sentiment still stands. Like you got to keep your head in the game, like right, wrong, or indifferent. Like you can't take your eye off the ball. So in that sense, I'll agree with you as far as talking to Tim Welch. But I think like the moral high ground he had, I think Tim Welch was being a little sus there.
Oh,
But
for sure. That's on Herb Dean, though, in my opinion, right? Like you're saying, like, is the offense supposed to tell his coach, and then the coach tells the ref, or is the ref just supposed to hear you doing that? You know, like whose job is it if you're gonna fake a snap count, for instance?
well, I thought Herb Dean did a pretty bad job just all the way around.
I agree.
Like,
couldn't agree more. Like, wasn't being a great ref the whole fight. That being said, Merab is now the bantamweight champion. Does O'Malley get the rematch, or do you go somewhere different?
hell no. I mean, that fight, I didn't think it should have even been 48-47. Like, I didn't find the fight to be like close or competitive.
Wasn't competitive. I can see how you can get 48-47. I mean, I did.
Yes,
but it's
I
like
see
it wasn't close. Like it was 49-46, 50-45, if that makes sense. Like minus the last probably 4 minutes of the fight. Like Merab won probably 21 minutes of the fight.
Agreed. And then hell no. It's gonna be Umar next.
Yep.
Which is very interesting. I mean, very interesting.
I think Umar's gonna put work on Merab. Put work on him. I'm actually pretty convinced.
Maybe, man. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. It's like my brain can't even really comprehend that. Just because, we never really seen Umar fight anybody with that style. Like, it's so hard to juxtapose what we saw in the Sandhagen fight and try to like apply that to a Merab matchup just because it's so different.
I would agree, except look where Umar trains. All those guys fight like Merab where he trains. He's the guy that doesn't fight like them. So I don't think it's going to be something new for him.
Training partners that are like, that's actually a pretty goddamn good point. I actually really like that point.
And he's not going to be scared to throw kicks, because do you think he's scared to get taken down? I don't think he has a fear of getting taken down by Merab. Like, I think he legitimately believes in his takedown defense so much, he'll unleash his actual striking arsenal, whereas Sean wouldn't do it. I really like Umar's matchup here.
I'll say, though, like, we've never even really seen Umar on the back foot. Like, remember when we watched him fight Sandhagen? So I'll say that, like, that's Merab. I mean, Captain, obviously, that's Merab's path to victory. Like, Merab just has, but that's my point. That's realistic. Like, if Merab just does what Merab does, I mean, that's something that we've never seen Umar, like, really go up against. Now, to your point, he probably goes up against it in the training room all the time. And that's a very fair point. I don't really have a counter to it, but we've seen Umar be Nate Maness and Corey Sandhagen. Like we've never really seen him fight anybody like Merab.
I agree with that. There's nobody else in the division like Merab except for Ricky Simone, though.
True. Did Umar beat Ricky Simone?
I think he did.
Did too. But also, like, Merab's way better than Ricky Simone.
I agree.
I know Ricky Simone has the win over Merab. Don't comment. I know. Fuck you.
MMA math. Chael would love that one.
Yeah, so I mean, and then O'Malley. See, this is the first place my brain went wasn't even Umar Merab. The first place my brain went, and other people's too. I'm not trying to act like a genius, but like I was like, we finally get Sandhagen O'Malley. It's not going to be for a title fight.
Know.
Didn't have that on my bingo card. But hey, 3 rounds. I feel like it's a better fight in 3 rounds. Like,
I agree.
It's going to be. I mean, hopefully it'll be 3 rounds. But I could also see them doing like an arena fight night because Sean could sell it on arena, and then main event in like an arena fight night. Like if they did one in Arizona or Colorado.
Or I could even see them doing like a bullshit women's title fight and them being the co-headline or co-main and doing it 5 rounds and selling the pay-per-view that way and not relying on their women champion.
Yeah, I just like as a fan, I used to, like it's not like 5 rounds isn't more. And Chael always says shit like this. Like you get the same amount of action, it's just divvied up over 5 rounds instead of 3. Like you only got so many bullets in the gun. Like it's. I don't think 5 rounds is like makes for a better fight. If anything, I think it makes for a worse fight.
It makes for a more sellable pay-per-view if that's your co-main, though.
I guess I just don't understand the logic. But I'm not disagreeing with it. I just don't. I think that's like a casual take.
Oh, I agree. But
5 rounds, I'm getting more for my money.
But that's who you're selling to. It's casuals here with pay-per-views. So that's all I'm saying is like I think both are true there. Man. I say we keep it pushing because we do have to break down this title fight. It was full hot dog shit. I did score at 50-45. Did you give any rounds to Grasso?
No, I got close in 2.
I did as well.
That reverse triangle was like pretty decent, and like
it was pretty scary. I thought for a second.
I mean, but Valentina got 2 takedowns in that round, and it's like, and here's another problem. And I heard somebody, who was it? It was I think Josh Thompson on fucking weighing in was saying that like Grasso was winning the striking. I couldn't disagree more. To the point where like
how Grasso landed 18 out of 100. She landed 18%. Valentina landed 59%.
I agree, and that's why I was somewhat getting frustrated with Shevchenko. And I disagree with a lot of the analysis I've heard out there. I've heard the analysis be like, hey, you got to do what you got to do to win a title fight and get that bag. Winning on the feet, like I don't think she had to be snoozy. Like she elected to be snoozy, and I kind of don't understand why. Like
I do.
Okay, but lay it on me, because I've been like confused or just like debating about this in my head for like the past 24 hours. Basically, like I thought she was having success on the feet. She's a natural, like she's a striker by trade. I think you have less risk of gassing out keeping it on the feet. Like, yeah, lay it on me, brother. I'm lost, dude.
So after the first fight, and then the second fight was actually incredibly close, right? Like very back and forth. Both girls finding success in all places on the fight. I thought both grappling and striking, both girls, right? Second fight. First fight, Valentina was winning that fight and like taking off on her, and then started to style on her. And the minute she threw a spinning fist or some bullshit, she got her back taken, choked out, right? Call it a fluke, whatever. Well, in the second fight, she got her back taken again doing that. And I think in this fight, she said to herself, I'm not doing any spinning shit, I'm not doing any extra shit. I'm just better than this girl baseline. I'm just going to baseline beat her.
Yeah. I mean, that's good shit. I'm glad you brought that to the show. I like the analysis. But, like, hey, also, you could just not spin and, like, still strike. Like that's an option, too. Like that. Like
it's just like she's
a big part of Muay Thai. Like, she's a Muay Thai fighter by trade, like by training. Like, Muay Thai fighters don't spin a lot. Like keep your shoulders square.
I think in her head, she's literally thinking like, I can take this girl down. I can just hold her down. I'll get 5 a carry every single play, and they're not going to stop me.
And she wasn't wrong. That's why, like,
it's tough, right? Because like it's a good fight for Valentina. In all honesty, it is, because she wins 50-45 and gets her belt back, and she's old, and that's like a big deal that she overcame the age in this situation as well. And having not once, now they're 1-1-1. Like, you could argue they need a 4th fight, which I am not arguing that at all in any way, shape, or form. I do not want a Moreno Figueiredo 4-fight thing again, ever again. The quadrilogy, get the fuck out of here.
Valentina, after the fight, she just said, like, I don't think people want to see that.
Yeah.
So,
and she's right. She's right.
Yeah. The very, very true. But yeah, I mean, it was just takedowns really at will. Grasso in the first, 3 rounds was throwing up a lot of subs from bottom. The closest was that reverse triangle.
Yep.
Well, then what? Was it a Gilly that was pretty goddamn close too? But it just wasn't tight enough.
And then, she...
I want to bring something to the show.
Her arm's kind of burned out from it too, because she held it for a long-ass time.
Florian on X last night did a really good breakdown of that long extended guillotine sequence. He was saying that if a guillotine's actually locked in, it's about 8 seconds to lose consciousness. So really, I for some people that's Captain Obvious. I found that information really enlightening, because anytime where I watch a fight and the guillotine has gone on longer than 8 seconds, I basically can unclench my butt cheeks. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Just be there's enough space for them to stay up, so there must be enough blood flow.
This person's just gonna gas their arms. So I thought that was one of the better tweets I saw last night from old Ken Flo. But yeah, I mean, there was a couple of submission tips. So you could tell Grasso's been training with Diego Lopez, though.
Yeah,
so you can tell.
And she was active off her back. She was fighting off her back, with strikes. I mean, granted, what's it worth? But
when she was not getting to a hip and trying to build a base. She wasn't getting to her feet. I mean, the broadcast was saying the same thing. He was just accepting the position and really wasn't even trying to get to her feet, and was playing jiu-jitsu too much.
So I will say, I couldn't be more juiced for Fiorot and Shevchenko. I'm
Yeah.
so fucking juiced. Like, here's what I'm saying is, those two headline a card, O'Malley Sandhagen co-main event. Sure.
No,
Like,
that's sick. So there's a lot of fun stuff you could do with Grasso.
I think Blanchfield, Namajunas.
I mean, those are the first two that come to mind. As of late, call it recency bias. I'm kind of an Natalia Silva mark, but that's not going to happen. Actually, I saw she got booked against Ara Ujo.
Yeah.
She's already fought Ara Ujo like 2 fights ago. I'm actually very, 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 very confused about that. I do not get it at all. She recently fought Ara Ujo like in the past calendar year.
That is odd. You know what? I think Grasso Namajunas is fun. 2 former champs, different weights, sure, but super fun.
That's probably a Fight Night main event.
For sure.
Yeah. No, I'm here for it. Selfishly, I'd rather... But, dude, after what I just saw, I think Blanchfield steamrolls Grasso. All you got to do is wrestle her versus a girl who's, like, only trying to wrestle?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it'd be fun to watch, but, like, Rose would be a way funner fight. But, hell, Rose has been wrestling a lot lately, too. That's probably what Rose is going to do. That's what anybody's going to do. Same goes for Sean. Like, we're probably going to get Rob Font Sandhagen. If they do make Sandhagen O'Malley, we're probably going to get... I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Why would you? Like, why wouldn't you? For both of them, for Grasso and Sean.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Man, I say we keep it pushing to old Diego Lopez and Brian Ortega here, because this fight was fun. Maybe more fun for me just because it actually made it to a decision, which I needed so fucking bad.
All right, so this is one where we got Diego Lopez minus 190, ranked 12. Brian Ortega plus 160, I think ranked 3. Obviously, this fight had been scheduled once before. They rebooked it. I had Lopez by KO. Harrison had Lopez by decision.
You were so close to being right so many times.
Kind of a no regrets for me. It was.
I was sweating bullets for 15 minutes. Bullets.
Lopez by KO better. I can't really be mad at like what I witnessed. You know what I mean? Like it stung. Don't get me wrong. It stung. But like
I will say this, what I witnessed was what I thought though, that Ortega would be able to survive some miraculous fucking ungodly beating.
You nailed it. In a way we both nailed it. Like seriously, I'm not even trying to be a diplomat here, but like seriously, like I thought that in like very early in the fight, Lopez's power, Ortega has a propensity to get his chin touched. Like we both kind of nailed our breakdowns. Yeah.
Boy, did he get his chin touched. So we do. I do want to ask you.
Perspective. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, how'd you score round 1? Because I gave it 10-8.
I gave it 10-8, and I got out kind of a hot take. It's not the only 10-8 I gave out in this fight. I gave out 2. Now I don't think a lot of people are going to agree with me. What? But I also went 10-8 and 3.
Okay, I was going to say 3 was a pretty badass whooping too. 1 kind of set the standard for me to be a 10-8 there. So like now that being said, that was a pretty bad 10-8. Like it's crazy 2 judges didn't give a 10-8 there. How was round 1 not a 10-8?
Dog shit. Yeah, no, that's. I mean, that's even like the old school definition of a 10-8. Like the fight was so close to being stopped.
Bro, he had him like dead man stumbling around the cage for a minute and a half.
For sure. And then in round 3, it was almost stopped with the ground and pound.
Right.
Like the ref was getting like
real close looks. And like thank God Ortega kept moving. Dude, I was screaming, move from the couch.
Just fucking hitting the ludicrous move, bitch. But also one thing I learned about Lopez, going back to the Ige fight and now this fight too. It's like if you're gonna bet Lopez by KO, you might as well let your fucking nuts hang and bet round 1 KO.
Yeah,
because it's either gonna be round. It does diminish like noticeably, visibly, and also like you might as well hedge and do like round 1 KO and then live bet the decision if it makes it to round 2. Like seriously, it's almost getting predictable. Like Lopez is gonna like bring hellfire to you for the first 5 minutes, but then he's gonna diminish a little bit, which does make me nervous now.
In a 5-round title fight, he's a weather the storm kind of a guy, and a guy like Topuria damn sure can weather storms. I mean, hell, Volk can usually weather a storm.
I was gonna say. I think Volk in the 4th round is going to start taking
over. Yeah. So, yeah, as Volk would say, I always turn up.
if the chin can survive, especially the newly cracked Volk chin.
That's true. That's so true.
So, but I did find myself wondering, like, damn, what does this Lopez style look like in 5 rounds? And it didn't give me a ton of confidence. It's almost like, well, I'm kind of getting out of the honeymoon phase with Lopez. At first, it was the hair and the tattoos, and then it was the bonuses and the knockouts. Then it was the activity and the quick turnaround.
And being a Mexican Brazilian, love that.
Yeah, everything. The Grasso camp, but now it's like I'm kind of like it's the next morning, and you look over and she's not as hot as she was the night before. You know what I'm saying?
You start to realize there's faults here. There's some lines I can see.
Yeah, like Diego Lopez is not a perfect fighter. I mean, he's very, very, very good, like for sure. But like,
but at featherweight, like when you're talking about like the Max Ilia level, that's a whole different like category from the Volk Diego Lopez level. Like featherweight has a serious like actual tiered ranking system in my opinion.
See, I'm not ready to drop Volk out of that tier yet. I have Volk in the A tier. I think Diego Lopez is basically the start of the B tier. Basically, it's like Lopez and Evloev and
the only
Sterling.
reason I say that is the chin thing. I don't know. But like, yeah.
But
you're right.
If you're gonna knock Volk's chin, you got to knock Lopez's cardio like equally.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
Like,
you're right.
You know what I mean?
But it's like in that tier with like Lopez is probably like Yair and maybe not even Brian Ortega after that ass whooping.
No. Yeah, Ortega's not in that tier anymore.
So,
maybe an Arnold Allen,
like
a Yair,
Aljo, maybe Evloev.
Yeah,
right.
That's the tier.
Okay, so that's the only reason I say all that is to say like, who do you think Lopez should fight next? I think the winner of Aljo Evloev makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense. What I want Volk. That's the fight. That's the reason why I keep like making that.
Selfishly, I do.
That's like a super fight, damn near.
I need Volk to take a whole year off. He's going to fight Diego Lopez. Does that make sense? Like, I need that chin to be fucking re-solidified to survive that storm.
Lopez might be down for that. I think he's fought 5 times in 13 months. Like, he probably needs a breather, too. I'm sure he's a little banged up. Like,
True.
Like, maybe that timeline works out. But if I had to bet money on what will happen, it's probably Evloev Sterling winner. Like that. Volk is like my fan side talking. Like my like actual like prediction would be what you said. Sterling Evloev
because
winner.
then that pretty much squares off like that's a number one contenders match.
For sure. Like basically this was like a little Grand Prix. Ortega Lopez, Evloev Sterling.
When is Evloev Sterling? Do you know?
The Utah card, I think. So I think it's the next pay-per-view. I'm pretty sure. So that timeline would align as well.
So is that October 5th? Right? With Poetan?
Yes, somewhere in there. Yeah, the Poetan Roundtree card. Yep.
Okay, so October 5th, Max and Ilia fight October 26th.
That all aligns. Like, that all works.
It's going to be kind of dicey as far as, like, hopefully Ilia or Max will want to take some time off and let us get a number one contenders match between Lopez and the winner of those two. But yeah, all that being said, we can keep it pushing to the fight of the night if you want.
Yeah, we sure can, man. Oh my god! I mean,
Goddamn this fight.
Probably like on my Mount Rushmore, piece of the Beefy Boys era. If you want to go back and throw in some old school fights, Forrest Griffin.
Do you think this is on a Dan Hooker Poirier level?
That's the first fight that came to mind. And Burn Chimaev. Or it's at least Burn Chimaev.
Yes, Burn Chimaev all day long. I don't know that Poirier.
That's my four. The Beefy Boys era. So like I said, not including pre-Beefy Boys era. Beefy Boys era. I'm going Poirier, Hooker, Gagey Chandler, Chimaev, Burns.
There's another Poirier fight on there that's an absolute. Oh, Gaslam Adesanya is a crazy war too. I don't know if that's Beefy Boys era.
That's pre-Beefy Boys era. There's a few on the but I'm talking like basically COVID till now.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It definitely has to be. I mean, it has to be. I also, so last night, I didn't score this fight for who wins the fight. However, that being said, I did rewatch it today. I changed my scorecard.
Okay. Yeah, so like I was
going to say the right guy won this fight.
I agree, and that's somebody who had a Zellhuber ticket and a
Same.
Zellhuber by decision
Me
ticket.
too. Like,
And
needed
I
it so
still,
bad.
it really fucked me. It really
I know, dude. I would have been positive if that one hit.
like I'm sitting here crying in my Cheerios, like, oh, bad week at the books, boys. But if this one fight, I had 3 tickets, including this fight. Granted, I guess
We did cash Shevchenko as a dog. Shout out to us. Also, Cash Lopez by decision for myself. So I ended up getting 40 back on like 50, so not the worst.
no, you damn near broke even. I ate dicks. The only ticket I'm cashing is the Shevchenko 1 unit sprinkle, which was like basically plus 120 or whatever. So nothing special. But yeah, I mean, fight of the night here: Zellhuber and Ribowicz. I had Zellhuber by decision ticket. Very close to it, but it would have been gross. It would have been that time like we won the ticket on the Iron Turtle robbery.
Yep.
Like it would have been a gift from the gambling gods. I think the right man won. But
interestingly enough, no judge has the same scorecard.
Really? So we got to go round by round.
Yes,
I'll be interested
we
to see
do.
if we have the same scorecard. Especially,
I agree.
are you going off your revised scorecard from today? Or
Yes,
okay.
I will be. Yes, I will be.
Okay, all right. So round one, I gave it 10-9 Zellhuber. I don't think that round's really up for debate.
It was close. That's a close round still. I mean, strikes were 32 to 33, but I thought Zellhuber was more effective with his strikes. And the was it body shots or was it
Yeah, no, it was the body shot, the right hand of the body.
Yeah, he landed a nice body shot.
A couple of them.
And the knees. He was working some knees too.
This is one of those fights that almost makes me glad that the judges aren't privy to the numbers, because when I was watching this fight, just eye test wise, and I wasn't even all fucked up or anything. I was watching this fight eye test wise. I was like, oh, this is clear Zellhuber round. But then they popped the numbers up on the screen, and it like started playing mental gymnastics, and it like kind of fucked my head up. But just so there are fights where I think the numbers would help judges. I think this is a clear example of why they don't do that. Because like it's
agree.
not point fighting,
and I also think
point fighting.
I think quality mattered a lot in round 2 for my score. So I scored round 1 to Zellhuber. Last night I had scored round 2 to him as well. That being said, this morning when I rewatched it, I thought the quality of the strikes Ribowicz was landing in 2 were much higher than Zellhuber's. He was landing pretty clean on his face at a couple instances.
I couldn't agree more, man. Copy paste everything you just said. Like basically copy and paste everything I said about Zellhuber in round 1 to Ribowicz in round 2, because that's another one where I'm watching this and I'm like, Ribowicz is cracking Zellhuber. And then they put the numbers up and it's like, oh, this is a razor close round. And it's like, I think if Zellhuber won, Ribowicz 2, numbers be damned. Honestly, fuck those strike count numbers.
And there is one judge that has that scorecard, Eric Colon. Saul D'Amato gives 1 and 2 to Zellhuber like I did last night. And then Chris Lee gives 2 to Zellhuber and 1 to Ribowicz.
That's just like actually wrong.
Right. That one doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. That's like the wrong.
What sucks is that one doesn't make any sense, but he gets the right winner because they all 3 agree on round 3 at least that and how could you not? Ribowicz was up like 27 to 70 or 77-27 of strikes after I don't know how he doesn't finish Zellhuber, and how does Zellhuber battle back and land enough shots to get it 10-9, because I did score it 10-9.
Well, I scored it at 10-9, not from the battle back, from what happened before. That he dropped him with a step and elbow.
Oh, you're right.
At the start of the round.
You're right.
So Ribowicz is technically the one that battled back. As crazy as that sounds, Ribowicz got dropped with the perfect.
You're so right. You're so right, because it was like just clean, just so clean.
Elbow. I thought the fight was over. I was literally in that moment. I was like, well, my Zellhuber by decision ticket won't cash, but at least my 2 parlays are alive.
Right.
Fucking call the ambulance, not for me.
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
I couldn't believe it. I actually was standing up. Like, it's very rare. You know, we watch fights every weekend. I'll yell or I'll get excited, but to actually like stand up and have like real anxiety, and yes, some of that was gambling induced, but like also just witnessing legendary shit. Like I was very aware in the moment. I was like, this is Poirier Hooker. This is Shemaya Burns.
Is that round of the year? Has to be, right? Because Zellhuber dropping him off the rip and then getting so hurt that he's a dude. Shout out to the ref for not stopping it. Who is the ref here? Jason Herzog. Shout the fuck out, man. Because, dude, Zellhuber was like, he was falling over, turning his back to get away at some points.
Yeah, I'll say Zellhuber's head movement while
It
hurt,
was
like literally like a
crazy.
boxer. It was like Muhammad Ali level, like for real, like it looked like that, like the fucking one they call that a
I
rope a dope,
almost
right?
thought he was so rocked that he was in like just in fight mode where like instincts just took over and he was just doing head movement drills.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah.
it
I mean,
felt,
yeah,
right? Like when
that's
you get
exactly like
so rocked that it's just instinctual and he just started. He wasn't even really swinging back. He was just doing like head movement drills.
it's just like when Navy SEAL can get like shot, but they're gonna like return fire, like hit the ground and return fire just because it's been so like drilled into
Right.
just yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, that's exactly what it was. Like that was the training taking over. It wasn't like you can't even call that fight IQ. Like that was that's why you do the drills, right? Like I mean,
100%. No, 100%. And like,
um,
yeah. So Rebowitz wins split decision. The right man wins the fight. Giving Zellhuber 2 is tough to do in my opinion, but I can see it, which also gives credence to this fight being a split and being, I mean, so far fight of the year in my opinion, round of the year as well.
I'll say this: I don't see how you give Zellhuber 2 unless you're looking at the numbers, but you're not supposed to be. If you're
Correct.
looking at the numbers and you're at home and you're on verdict, sure, give Zellhuber 2. If you're an actual judge in the building that allegedly doesn't have access to the numbers, I don't see how you give it to him without the numbers. So, like, but that's just my opinion. But you're right. The right man wins. Unfortunately, for my fucking betting record and wallet, I was like gambling gods. It got to a split
Gambling
decision.
gods?
I was like, am I gonna get this?
Then you
But
hear
no,
Esteban, you're like, oh no, 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 no.
right man won, and I gotta say, man, Rebowicz is like kind of like proving like that McKinney win wasn't really a fluke. Like
I
it really
know.
like he's good, man. I don't know how good he is. I haven't updated my rankings yet. Full disclosure, that's on me. Um,
He's gonna be top 20 as far as I'm concerned. I mean, or
me
close to
too.
it. I think he's
Well,
probably around
just
21 in my rankings. I believe is where I put him.
outright because at like 21, I have Ludovic Klein. Like 22, Diego Ferreira, Drew Dober. He's above that. Like he's like top 20. Yeah, top 20.
He's
He's
yeah,
got to be in the top 20.
yeah.
And I'm not so sure that Zellhuber needs to drop out of the top 20, to be honest. Like, he's not perfect.
Well, and this
He
fight's
showed a
razor
few.
thin.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's toe to toe with the top 20 guy, you're probably a top 20 guy too,
I
right?
mean, if
Like, I
that
mean,
elbow has 2 more newtons of force, does it just knock Rebowitz out cold? Like, you know,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, Zellhuber, I think this is the type of loss. It either goes one of two ways. Like, either this is
real
Ferguson
bad or
Gaethje. Yeah.
galvanizing.
Yes. Like, either like you learn a fuck ton and really chisel out these rough edges, or like changes you just from the amount of damage.
So
I,
I'm gonna
and
say
I,
I'm gonna say this. It's in my opinion, it'll be the former of those two, right? Or the better option because he trains Extreme Couture, so good game planning style gym, and he's young, and there's a lot you can learn from this fight because he did a lot right, but he made some big mistakes.
agree. I agree. But also, like, you want to talk about fire's fortitude. I bet fucking.
Yeah,
I,
I mean, how juiced you got to
I,
be when you see him survive that third? Like, you know, Nixick is telling him in the locker room after, like, dude, you lost, but like you battled like a goddamn Mexican out there.
like, if I'm Zellhuber, I'm changing my nickname to BDZ, and I'll just let people guess what fucking Big Dick Zellhuber, man. Just like that guy, you can't coach that. Like, you either got that or you don't, man.
It's
Like,
that's that dog in you.
it's actually though, yeah, I mean, amazing fight. This is now added to my list of fights that like if I have a few too many at the bar and don't know what to watch when I get home. Like, this is getting thrown off on the TV. Like I said, I have about a list of like 4 to 6 fights that I do that with, and this is now on there.
Congrats,
Yeah,
Huber and Rebowitz. You guys made the list. That
yeah,
being
no,
said, man, we'll keep it pushing to Rodriguez Osborne. These guys probably thought they had fight of the night in the fucking bag after they were finished their fight.
and basically like any other night they would have. Yes,
100%.
this is another one where I have a unique scorecard that I don't think a lot of people are going to agree with, but
Okay.
obviously it makes sense to me. So I do want to go round by round on this one. What were the odds on this one? Renato Rodriguez was like minus 165, right? Or
I do
something like that.
believe, let's see, Ronaldo Rodriguez got all the way up to minus 185.
Minus 185. Okay. Well, and man, I'll be real. I kind of got to a no bet for me, so I don't know how much I can toot my own horn on this breakdown. But my breakdown, the reason why it was a no bet, I was like, we're basically like should win this fight, but I can't trust him. And like basically what happened, like he did everything right and then like still found a way to lose. Like he just Jalen turned the fight away in a way like
Bro, the knockdown, I saw the back of fucking Rodriguez's head hit the canvas and bounce back up. I thought he was out cold.
and I think it was one of those situations where he woke him up with fire.
Yeah, Tonioni was about to stop it, and he kept hitting him, and it woke Rodriguez up, and he grabbed his leg, and Tonioni literally was like about to put his hands on him and like pull his hands back and was like, "Oh, all right."
It was as close to like finishing a fight as you can like physically get and
Bro,
like still lose a fight.
You're talking about a millisecond reaction from the ref to realize that guy's still grabbing your legs, so he's going to let him keep fighting.
It's like so bad for Ode because he's like what 1-4 in his last 5 now, and like, yeah. I mean, it's hard to like. It's like a lot of fighters. You'll hear fighters talk about. You won't hear a lot of analysts say this, but you hear fighters say like you got to separate the performance from the result. And us as fans and analysts, like it's hard to do that. But fighters talk about it all the time. Like Ode performed, like he did all the things that like he probably worked on in camp. Like he did everything that he needed to do. It just still lost. Like
So how did you score round 1?
Yeah, round 1, I gave it 10-8 Ode. And not as close to like someone out as you can like physically get. The knockdown, the ground and pound, and then there was the triangle attempt at one point.
Yeah, the triangle was so deep. I don't know how Rodriguez survived that.
Cutting him with elbows from the bottom in the triangle. Like, I mean, the damage in that round was insane. I got to go 10-8 on it.
So I did as well. I felt like Rodriguez survived the round. I didn't feel like he competed in the round, if that makes sense. He got flatlined. He got put into one of the deepest triangles I've seen. I have no idea how he got out of it. And he was getting cut from bows. I mean, yeah, all 3 of those are enough to win you the round 10-9 if you can do them in a single round. He did all 3.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better. Couldn't have said it better. Now, this is where my scorecard gets a little weird. In round 2, I come back the other way and go 10-8 Ronaldo.
Me too. We have the same scorecard. Yeah, all right. This is crazy.
I thought I was a crazy person.
No,
nobody,
because like,
I mean, nobody was agreeing. Like, nobody's scorecard. I didn't see our scorecard represented.
It was wild because, like, this was definitely, I thought round 1 was a 10-8. Like, I didn't think it was that controversial. Thought the same about this round.
Because while it wasn't as intense as Ode's 10-8, like a spectrum of 10-8s. It's like I don't, just because one thing was a 10-8, there's still the spectrum between 8 and 9.
Right.
And because it doesn't get all the way to 8, like almost like verdict scoring, it was like
8.1 and 8.8. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like they're both 8s.
They're still, yes. That's exactly how I view this. Because Ronaldo, I mean, he was either on top or had the back for like 4.5 minutes of the round, and then like the ref almost stopped due to the ground and pound.
Right.
Like that fight was almost stopped again for Ronaldo in round 2.
And you could argue that round broke Ode Osborne. Like he barely got up at the end of the round. His coaches had to drag him up off the ground.
I've said a lot of nice things about Ode Osborne. I'll say the opposite. Him jumping Gilly to start the round, like that's what even put him. Ronaldo, everything we just said, Ronaldo didn't get a takedown in that round.
No, he doesn't.
He spent 4.5 minutes on top.
In 3, but yeah.
He spent 4.5 minutes on top and almost won the fight due to ground and pound strikes without getting a takedown because Ode Big Brain Osborne decided to jump Gilly at the very start of the round and spent the rest of his round getting tuned up.
No, I couldn't agree more. And then to your point as well, like Ode was so we both have it 18-18 going to round 3, by the way, just for everyone at home. Yeah. Wild scorecard. But Ode was broken, right? Like his mental was broken. He was physically exhausted. And you could tell in round 3, like I thought round 3 was just a cruising 10-9 for Rodriguez.
Oh, see, I'll push back on the cruising. I thought it was a close round because like the striking on the feet was very, very even. Got a takedown. Ronaldo got a takedown. However, Ronaldo was able to get some ground and pound off and got more damage and did more
ended the round on top as well.
Yes, but I'm saying I think it was still a pretty close round, like pretty comparable, like pretty like
competitive.
The right man won, but I just don't think like cruising like Merab that round, but like Merab was cruising in round 5. Like that's to me like guess coasting different than cruising, whatever. But like round three, I thought was like decently close. It's just like did more with his takedown and like was it like was the saying he who laughs laughs best. Like he ended the round on top, getting ground and pound. Like he survived O'Day's takedown, got up from that, got his own. So right man won the round, but I thought it was a little closer than perhaps described. But yeah, I mean, the right man wins the fight. So we both have it, what, 28-27? Is that what that math equals out to?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wild scorecard. No judge agrees with this.
There's a 29-27, two 29-27s.
I'm even cool with that. But 29-28, go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
Neither guy gets a 10-8.
Yeah, that would be Junichiro Kamijo. But I will say, if Adelaide Bird and Ron McCarthy are going to give Rodriguez 10-8s for 2 and not going to give Osborne a 10-8 for 1, right.
Because I thought O'Day's was worse.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So for O'Day to win a 10-9 round on everyone's card, and that's the only round he wins is round 1 on everyone's card is 10-9.
You're right. That actually is pretty out of line.
He's super out of line. Like, at least if you're giving him a 10-9 and 1, then you're going to give Rodriguez a 10-9 and 2, which is what Junichiro Kamijo did. So at least that, like, logically makes sense.
Yeah, because if anything, a gun to my head, I have to take away a 10-8. I'm taking away Ronaldo's, not O'Day's.
Right. Whereas 2 judges only gave 10-8s to Rodriguez and 2.
Break it down like that. It's pretty gross. I don't love that. Oh, the right man wins, but just like, what are we doing here?
Couldn't agree more. But yeah, that wraps up the UFC Sphere Las Vegas main card, UFC 306. What an event. The fights, the championship fights, not great. But the Sphere itself lived up to everything that was expected and more.
Yeah, and I'll say the Zellhuber, Riebowicz, and Rodriguez Osborne almost like basically made up for the lackluster championship fights in my book.
I mean, the first 3 fights were all awesome. It was just the last 2 that sucked.
For sure. A little anticlimactic. But yeah, this card will stand out in my memory, in a brain that's packed with a lot of fights and stuff. They kind of sometimes blur together in cards and all that, but obviously, this will be one that we remember. A lot of fun. Hit subscribe. We give out our betting breakdowns on Wednesday, Thursday, and we recap every single fight on every single card. Check us out over on X at Beefy Breakdown, on IG at Beefy Boys Breakdown.